Okay, we'll start off with cell phone number 5626. May nangyaring massacre sa Corregidor, which is Jabida. Massacre, may witness, the lone survivor si Jibin Arola. Yan ang tinatawag sa panahon ni Marcos, Muslim Brigade. Tama po yan. No, pati din ako, ganun ang paniwala ko. Pero nabasa ko po yung column ni Bobby Tiglao at kinote niya yung, I don't want to use the term recantation ni Senator Ninoy Aquino na ganun nga, hindi naman daw talaga massacre dahil parang isa lang yata ang namatay. And then it's also quoted by Senator Jovito Salonga's book. So there you have it. You have a choice. I will always respect what your opinion is. Good evening to Mr. Eric Espina. I salute you for discussing BBL and other matters relating to our Muslim brothers and sisters' concerns. We can never watch this kind of courageous show from big TV networks. Mabuhay ang Philippine Sultanate of Sulu and Sabah. Abel B. Alcalde of Marikina City. Sana po may upload nyo lahat ng episodes nyo sa YouTube para ma-share sa lahat. Maraming salamat po. Marami pong salamat sa inyo. Kami po ay nandito dahil sa inyo. Kayo pong nagpapatabas ng aming puso. Dahil yung nga sinasabi ko, uulit-ulitin ko, maliit lang po itong ating programa pero nakakapuwing po. Okay. Colonel Pobre.
Yes, mention has been made about whether the MILF has the right to represent all the various stakeholders.
Yes.
And precisely that's one of my contentions also in my paper, in that I am not very sure whether the MILF has the right to represent and act for and in behalf of all the stakeholders. For example, you have the traditional political leaders, the datos.
Yes.
You have the ulamas or religious leaders.
Yes.
You have the MNLF.
Yes.
You have also the lumads or
Yes.
indigenous people.
Yes.
Now, unless this...
Which number more than the
number
MILF?
more than the MILF?
Yes.
Now, unless there has been a
Consensus.
declaration of each of these sectors who are stakeholders to the effect that they allow themselves to be represented by the MILF, I am not very sure whether the MILF has the right to represent them. And therefore, what happens, since they are not represented in these agreements, and obviously, the agreements may not really affect them very, very favorably. There will be some adverse effects.
Reactions.
What will happen? They will complain and probably they will cause trouble.
Am I correct, Colonel Pobre, to say that this is a Malacanang imposed peace agreement? And therefore, because it is imposed from the top, the peace that we all want and pray for will not actually happen.
I am not sure about that.
You're not yet ready to make
I'm not ready.
to jump into that, yes.
It seems to be that way.
Okay. Prince Omar.
Yes.
So far, what has been the reception of the House? And has the Senate invited you? I think it is a committee of Senator Bongbong Marcos.
Marcos.
Yes.
We believe that
Alam mo,
the Congressional Committee headed by Congressman Rufus Rodriguez was rather welcoming and was actually very kind in giving us the opportunity to present our position and interact with the honorable members of the august hall of Congress today. And we would like to thank the good chairman for sharing us the time to be there and expound our position that without equal recognition and equal representation of all the stakeholders, as mentioned by Colonel Pobre,
Okay.
of course, the traditional royal houses led by His Majesty Sultan Fuad Kiram is one, the Lumads of Mindanao, the Christian population must
Yes.
be also consulted,
Of course.
right? As well as the ulamas or the Islamic leaders. Then you are not going to be able to have lasting peace and stability, because that was really the reason for violence and disorder in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Until such time that the political leaders agreed to give equal representation and equal recognition to all the combatants and to all the stakeholders.
I stated earlier
Yes.
during the
Committee hearing
that they were talking about the plebiscite, and I believe that the plebiscite should be held all
the entire-
across the country.
for the
Not
entire
just
nation.
in that area, because what happens there affects the whole country.
Correct.
You know.
Okay.
And they say there's something about plebiscite, this and that, but you see, it doesn't it's useless, right?
Okay. From J. Razon, cell phone number 4242, Guagua, Pampanga. It's all the fault of Ninoy Aquino that Muslim fight the Philippine government. Bottom line, napaikot niya ang intelektual ng MNLF. That's your opinion. Ayoko naman bansagang Filipino Muslim. I have a take on this. No, I don't really want to call them Filipino Muslims. They are Filipinos who just happen to be Muslims. I even don't like actually calling them our Muslim brothers with emphasis on the Muslim. I'd rather call them Filipinos because I don't want to draw distinctions between religion. It's like saying they are Filipino born again or Filipino Catholics or Filipino Christians. It just doesn't make sense as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, 6508. Sir, good PM. Sharid Gustin, Kabaraban po ito ng Liloy, Zamboanga del Norte. Kalokohan niyang ginagawa ng mga MILF at MLLF dito sa Mindanao. Sariling interes lang nila ang iniisip nila para mas maging makapangyarihan sila dito sa Mindanao. Kami dito naghihirap dito, pati na yung mga sinaunang indigents. Dito minawalang silbi ng gobyerno natin. Dahil kung tutusin, pangatlong settler lang sila dito sa Mindanao. Yung mga ita dito na ayoy mga Subanen ang pinakaunang settlers dito. I'm just reading all this and it's disheartening that we're trying to split straws between who owns the Philippines.
Just like those people. Oh, what is the MILF doing for them?
And
Wala.
precisely, we need the president that says all Filipinos own the Philippines.
Exactly.
No one tribe owns one territory, except
He has
of
too
course.
many bosses kasi.
Except of course, I'll
That's a
take
joke.
a special distinction to the Sultanate of Sulu, who and the Kiram family, by the way, especially the Kiram family, who has, and I keep on repeating this to the Philippine government, increased the territory of the Republic of the Philippines. And then what has every past government given to this family in recognition of increasing the territory of the Philippines? Nothing. How unfortunate could this family be? Anyway, Colonel Pobre, itong papel ninyo, inadapt na rin ng AGFO at nung ibang ano. So, are you saying that the AGFO will be against the BBL already? Kahit na hindi pa lumalabas? Or kinakabahan na rin kayo dahil the CAB itself is already a precursor of what to expect from the BBL?
Well, basically, we are not in favor of many of the provisions of there are two agreements, the framework agreement and the comprehensive agreement.
The CAB is the mother agreement.
The CAB is the mother agreement.
Yes.
And to my mind, there are things that are not acceptable, if I may.
Okay.
As in fact, I am already making mention of this.
Okay.
And in fact, you made a mention has been made about the plebiscite. Did you know that one of the provisions is that if a petition of even only 10%
Okay.
of the inhabitants of a territory contiguous to the core territory of Bangsamoro, they will be made to accede to the Bangsamoro. And I'm questioning this because this could be a good case of what I call tyranny of the minority over the majority.
Kayo po'y sundalo. Kayo po'y PMA graduate. I am asking the government peace panel and this current administration, what is their position just in case the MALF is unhappy with the product of the BBL, uses the CAB, the Comprehensive Agreement on the Bangsamoro, and or declares independence. And they won't need to go to the United Nations. Malaysia being one of the witnesses
Will be
will simply recognize them. Ano ang gagawin ng ating gobyerno? Ano ang magagawa ng ating gobyerno? Pag-isipan niyo muna, babasahin ko lang ito. 5817, bloodline of the Sultan of Sulu, North Borneo, is being hunted. And if not, impostor claimant was being used by Malaysia to prevent their claim to its throne that is being recognized by the Queen of England. as the governing monarch of its ancestral territory, which is Sulu, North Borneo. Sagot niyo po.
Any miscalculation regarding the implementation of the agreement could result in, I don't like to spell it out.
Disaster.
And
Okay.
what happens will be is that it will be the soldier, the Filipino soldier, who will bear the brunt of that
A
miscalculation.
Filipino soldier
The Filipino soldier.
who is, by looking at them, of one uniform, regardless of religion. Because
regardless
there are also
of
Muslim.
regardless of race, creed, or
whether
color.
government soldiers or not.
Okay,
You know, there'll be so much bloodshed,
okay.
right?
4277, more power to you. Due to our legislature questionable DAP personalities, can we not have a nationwide initiative to repudiate the BBL? This matter is a divisive issue. Asyong nakainta. Ang sinasabi ko po sa inyo, huwag nyo nang hintayin yung BBL.
Gumalaw kayo.
I-question nyo na yung comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro. Diretso ka agad sa Supreme Court kasi yun ang mas importanteng questionin. Para wag nang manganak yung CAB na yan, ang magkaroon pa ng BBL.
Bangsamorong yan, pangluloko yan sa tao.
2692, why do government officials get hungry for power? As humans get smarter, the more they are hungry for power. What we need is another dictator, John of Leyte. Well, read your history, and if I might say this, read the Bible or the Quran. The author of democracy and liberty is God Almighty. When He allowed Adam to decide.
Ang kayamanan ng Mindanao ay hindi lang para sa mga taga Mindanao, kundi para sa buong sambayan ng Pilipino.
Okay. Prince Omar, we have talked about self-determination for the Tausog Nation. We've talked about self-determination for the indigenous peoples. Even the MILF is talking about self-determination. Sa taong nanonood, sino bang pakikinggan natin? Sino bang may karapatan? Basahin ko lang ito. Good PM Eric, I'm watching your show. Abraham J. Ijirani, Secretary General, Sultanate of Sulu and North Borneo. Thanks. Okay. Magandang gabi. Okay. Sino bang self-determination dapat ang susundin natin dito?
The self-determination that should be followed is really the one espoused by the Royal Hashemite Sultanate of Sulu and Sabah, that is under the reign of His Majesty Sultan Fuad Akiram I.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, his father, His Majesty Sultan Ismail Ikiram I, transferred the sovereignty of Sabah to the Philippines in 1962.
Okay.
That was accepted by President Diosdado Macapagal and accepted also by the Vice President Emmanuel Pilaes, concurrently Foreign Affairs Secretary.
Prince Omar, do you think the MILF will accept the Tausog Nation, the IPs, using the principle of self-determination to say, we are also going to clear self-determination from the MILF? Pwede ba yun?
The MILF was created and is funded by Malaysia, indeed, to extinguish the rights of the Tausogs to retake Sabah on behalf of the Royal Hashemite Sultanate of Sulu and Sabah.
Okay.
So, to make sure that the Royal Sultanate of Sulu and Sabah cannot continue to retake Sabah away from Malaysia, they are creating this so-called CAB and BBL.
Okay.
Because when their surrogate army, MILF, will be the rulers, because majority
Backed up by
of
the Americans.
the territories being claimed by the MILF